This was maybe a year ago. I was at the gym, the local gym that I go to, and I was sweating, but probably not for the reason you think. I wasn't sweating because of the workout. I was sweating because there was a giant mirror in front of me. I was on the bench, and there was this beautiful girl that caught my eye that I was trying to muster up the confidence to say something to. And I actually did talk to this girl. But before I tell you what happens, because what happens is kind of crazy, let me just tell you a bit more about myself and the whole reason for why I even decided to approach this girl this one evening. Because honestly, it's probably a lot deeper than you think it is. I was just feeling really lonely this one night. I'm not gonna lie to you. See, growing up, I was always one to stay home, playing video games, hours upon hours, every single day. And I didn't really socialize much with people. Not necessarily because I didn't want to, but rather because I found it very difficult to. See, the thing is, I always craved this social connection from people. I wanted to feel desired by women, things like that. I felt like I lacked a lot of that growing up because I just stayed home so much, so much. And I also felt like I always gained so much energy, so much happiness being around people that I liked, like an extrovert. Like my cousins, for example, whenever I would go to a sleepover to my cousin's house, it would be the best night of my life. The best. The memories we created was something else. But whenever I would go back home, I would just feel this unbelievable just sorrow and sadness. Because I knew I would go back to being lonely. Now, why wasn't I social? Well, it felt like my father had a very strong grasp on me when growing up. He was very strict on me, which felt like it kind of castrated my social life of very much. And on top of that, I lacked confidence. I had social anxiety. I had insecurities. Everything. So the thing is, I wanted people to be around me, but I was stuck at home with video games and Discord friends. So for a long time, I truly believed that having more people around me would make me a lot happier. And eventually I got exactly what I wanted. After high school ended, I became exactly what I told myself I would be. I went from being this shy, introverted kid to taking a complete 180, and I started becoming somebody who was known to socialize a little bit too much. And get this, I thought this was what I'd wanted for my whole life, was to feel desired, the attention, the socialness, just the connection, right? But this one night, where I was feeling really lonely at the gym, and I was about to go speak to this beautiful girl, was about to teach me otherwise. Even though I socialized so much at this point of my life, it still felt like I was alone. Still felt like I was lonely, empty this one night. And since I'm known as this guy who kind of socializes a lot in the gym, this one night I was really quiet, which made people subconsciously, the people who I usually talk to, subconsciously not want to talk to me. I noticed a very different vibe and mood shift towards how people were perceiving me, and automatically this starts to put me in a worse mood, because it seems like nobody wants to talk to me this one night, and I gain a lot of energy from being around people, and it was like a negative feedback loop, because there was me who wanted social connection this one night, but feeling that barrier that was placed between me and the people, because I was originally in kind of a shitty mood, and then that worse mood makes people treat me worse, right? It's like a cycle. It's literally the curse of being the shy little introverted kid, who wants to socialize. And bro, at this point, like, I am so just in my head right now, and those same exact feelings of just lack of confidence and like social anxiety and insecurities that I had all those years ago, they came crawling back to me this one night. And I had no idea why, I felt like I reverted back into that shy little introverted kid that I once was. And I'll be honest, bro, I was kind of pissed off. I was annoyed at myself. Because I thought I was a social butterfly who smiled, who made the people around him laugh, who was able to rizz up the girls. And so eventually, my friend, I reach a point of my workout when I'm on the bench and there's this giant mirror in front of me who I can see everyone behind me, right? And get this, I see this beautiful girl behind me. Well, I'm looking in front because of the mirror, but I see that there's a girl working out her glutes behind me. Beautiful girl, right? Stunning. And in my head, I'm like, dude, okay, all right, bro. If you're not an actual pussy, if you're not a little bitch, you are gonna go and speak to this girl right now. If you're not your younger self, you will go and speak to this girl. I don't give a shit. I don't care what happens. I don't even want anything out of this girl. I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this to prove to myself that I'm not my younger self. Or so that's exactly what I thought I was doing it for, but in reality, let's be real, bro. I wanted to speak to this girl because I was trying to seek comfort in her. I felt very undesired in that moment, and I wanted to feel desired. And so I kind of dropped my weights, and I kind of like wander around for a few minutes, just like trying to muster up the confidence to speak to this girl. I'm like wandering around her a bit, and it was like, bro, just say something. Come on, please. Eventually, I just said, fuck it. I walked near her, just looked her straight in the eyes, smiled. She looked at me back and smiled, and I said, hey. By the way, she had headphones on, so I had to kind of like say hey, and then like wait for her to take the headphones off and say hey. I was like, hey, I haven't seen you around here. What's your name? And started having a little conversation. I'll be honest with you, bro. She did not seem interested in me at all. You know, she seemed very disinterested. Like for the boys watching this, you know when you kind of approach a girl and then she seems just very like weird, timid, and like low-key a little bit frightened. Yeah, that's how kind of she was right there. And so I kind of just left it with, hey, well, it was nice meeting you, and I hope you have a great workout. And I left it at that, right? But this is when it gets crazy, because I just went back to my bench just to continue my own workout, right? And I thought everything was okay. You know, I felt a little bit better because I mustered up the amount of confidence needed to speak to that girl. But so right after I left the girl and I went to back to my bench to work out, I realized as soon as I went back to my place, she also got up and left right away, right? After I left her. And I just thought, okay, maybe she just finished her exercise, her workout, and she's on to the next, right? No. Fuck. Dude, my tripod has to be the most flimsiest piece of shit ever. And I always happen to record when it's windy. My fault. So basically, I thought this girl left because of the workout, right? But let's say like half an hour goes past. And I'm just chatting with some of my other friends. I'm about to get ready to leave the gym at this point, right? I've literally got my duffel bag, my gym bag ready. And I'm about to exit the gym. I'm walking straight to the exit, right? When all of a sudden, bro, get this, right? I feel somebody tug at my arm. Like I'm walking and I feel somebody tug at my arm, right? And I look behind and it's this random guy who I've never seen in my life. And he had, I swear to you, bro, he had the most boiling facial expression you could ever imagine. He was unbelievably just pissed off at me. And I had no idea like what happened. I was confused as a motherfucker. Like, who are you? What did I do? Why are you grabbing me aggressively? Is this big motherfucker as well? Like, damn. At least ask me out to dinner first. But then get this, right? The same girl that I approached, I looked from the corner of my eye and the girl was right behind this man, kind of like tugging on his clothes, telling him to like, oh, stop, it's okay, you don't need, like telling him to stop basically, right? And that's when it clicked in my head, bro. I approached this guy's girl. Whoops. And boy, when I realized that, I got a little bit scared because this guy's very, very big, bro. He can pick me up and throw me like a pillow, right? And then he says this in this really just aggressive voice. Did you know that was my girlfriend? Did you know that was my girlfriend? He kept repeating that. Did you know that was my girlfriend? Did you know that was my girlfriend? And all of a sudden, the adrenaline in my body starts like kicking in, and my heart starts beating quicker. Because again, I don't know what this guy can do. He looks like the type to just start swinging. It's like, fuck, bro. Like, I'm just a peaceful guy. I never wanted any of this to happen, obviously. And the only reason I ended up here was because I was feeling a little bit lonely. I had no, like, lustful desire whatsoever. I was just trying to find some comfort. And bro, get this, right? Even though I knew for a fact I did something I shouldn't have done. I understood why this guy was angry at me. I couldn't help but feel a little bit cheated. Not because of, you know, like, he shouldn't be mad at me, or he deserved to be mad at me, whatever. But I only got myself into this situation because I was feeling lonely and I just wanted to connect. That is what made me feel very shitty in that moment. And so I really tried my best to just calm this guy down, you know? Oh, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't laugh in this situation, by the way. I didn't laugh at all. Just serious expression, but I was like, bro, I'm sorry that I did not know. That was genuinely the only time and the first time I've ever saw her. I didn't mean any harm in that. And that's all I said. And he seemed to calm down a bit. But then he says this, right? I respect the confidence. He tells me I respect the confidence. And on a surface level, that sounds like he was complimenting me. I respect the confidence, but I don't think he really meant that. I mean, why would you compliment someone who tried approaching your girl, you know? I mean, he could have meant that, but what I think he meant was, you know, I respect the confidence. I'm surprised somebody like you could approach a girl like that. I think that's what he meant. So maybe he was insulting me, my appearance or my looks or whatever, which was okay. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there, if I'm being honest. You know, I didn't give a shit. I just left straight away and went back to my car. And in my car, I just sat there for a while, contemplating and just thinking a lot longer than I usually would. Just wondering just why I even got myself in that situation in the first place. And I'll be honest, bro, I didn't come to any conclusions. My mind was just completely empty. A lot emptier than I thought it would be. And I didn't know why. And I just turned on my car. And for some reason this night I decided to drive without any music, without any podcasts, just in silence. And I remember maybe 5 minutes go past of me driving home, and I'm just sitting at the traffic lights, waiting for it to go green. And then I just get just one thought of just how alone I feel right now. And all of a sudden I just start crying. You know, I literally just tears running down my face. The most unattractive sobbing a grown man can do. Just crying on the way back home for no particular reason. Not because of what happened with the guy, obviously not, but just because I just had a thought of just how empty I feel right now. How lonely I do feel. You know, even though there were so many people around me, I still felt really empty. And to just dig a lot deeper in this wound, I was already crying, but this made me cry 50 times more, bro, if I'm being honest. In that moment, I realized, despite being known as this social guy with so many connections, in that moment, dude, it felt like I had nobody I could even talk to about this. About what had just happened. About me crying. I had nobody who I was even comfortable enough to open up to this about. Not my mother, not my father, not my brothers, not even my friends. Nobody. Yeah, felt really alone. The same type of alone that I felt all those years ago. When I always used to stay at home. It was the same thing. And I thought it was fixed, but it never was. I was just distracting myself from it. And dude, I was so just pissed off at myself. So angry at myself for having these like desires, these wants to feel connected, for love, for whatever, right? Real human connection. I felt so shitty for having these desires. Because I knew like I should be fine with just being alone. I should be okay with being alone. And I really tried to believe that and push this desire of mine away for so many years because the internet has told us to kind of push our desires, push our emotions away. And it was moments like these that fucking had me just burst out in tears out of nowhere that made me realize that maybe this isn't something that I should just ignore. Like I went back home and I even ended up like searching up like therapists in my area. And I like filled out one of those like forms, even though I had like a full family inside the house that I was in. It's kind of sad, isn't it? But I never went to therapy. You know, I was always somebody who stayed home a lot, right? And I blamed that for the reason for why I felt so empty and lonely. And when I actually started socializing, I started going to the gym and being more of a productive person, I realized having more people around you, it helps. It helps, but only on a surface level. I had people around me, people who liked me, but it's just like, why? Why was I trying to be social in the first place? Well, it just wasn't to feel lonely anymore. But it didn't matter how many friends that I made. I still caught myself falling under these same traps. Even if I have friends that I love, why does it feel like they can't comfort me in the way that I really want? Right? Nothing against these people at all. Amazing people. But why do I feel the need to kind of hide away in private and cry? And then some more time passed. I didn't really do much about it until I came across this one podcast that blew my mind away, and it might blow yours as well. I haven't heard a single person on the internet talk about this at all. But in my experience, it is very, very true. You know, it's really funny. Us men, we tell other men, right, that we should be looking out for each other. We should support each other. We tell each other that we're supporting each other, but what actually happens when we see another man struggling? It's not, oh, he's struggling, let's help him out. Most of the time, it's seen as icky. It's seen as a little bit like repulsive. Be honest, it is. Nobody talks about the fact that not even men are willing to show up for men. Right? I'm not saying women don't have this problem, but there's a reason why the male, offing themselves rates are higher. When women struggle emotionally, women support each other, right? And they feel it. They feel the support. I'm at the gym and I see two of my friend girls talk to each other and they're like, oh my gosh, girl, you did this? Oh, but it energizes them, man. They feel the support. They actually encapsulate the support that they give each other. right? And it makes me so happy when I see that, because I just love seeing people happy. But men are not prepared to show up for other men the same way women are prepared to show up for other women. And get this, even men are prepared to show up for women, right? And this is something dark that I don't usually talk about, but I just couldn't help but see the truth in it. I saw so much truth in this because I never really got comforted by my father much growing up, or my two older brothers. The only person was my mum. But even still, I felt like there was 60% of things that I just could not tell my mum, you know? And even if my friends were trying to actually help me out and actually like support me, it would genuinely feel like it wasn't really going inside my head. Nobody could really help me get me out of my own mind, right? They say 51% of men lack a single person for emotional support. That just begs the question, I mean, who is there to really care about us, men, right? If not even fellow men. And that's kind of how I felt for a while. And for a time period after this, I kind of stopped socializing and I became a little bit more quiet again. And it was just a very sad time, it really was. However, bro, one day, right? I'm in the gym, I just finished my workout, I'm just taking pump pictures in the mirror, right? And all of a sudden, I see this middle-aged guy in his 40s come up right beside me and take his shirt off, right? And this guy was probably the most peeled, the most jacked-looking 40-year-old I've ever seen. And that by itself, you know, bro, I just had to compliment him. You know, I had to start a conversation with this guy. And as soon as I started a conversation with this guy, there seemed to be something very different about him. His vibe, his energy. He seemed very different compared to everybody else, yeah? He was going through a divorce with his wife. And so he was going through some shit as well. And obviously I couldn't relate to that, but he had a lot of wisdom to tell me. A lot of great wisdom. And naturally, we'd start talking about more deeper topics. More and more deeper, right? And I realized that this guy was probably the single most emotionally intelligent man that I've ever come across in my life. Just from this one conversation we had. And throughout the following weeks, the days, right, you know, whenever I would see him at the gym, I would go and have a conversation with him. And more often than not, bro, we would have conversations that last more than like 1 hour, right? And it would genuinely ruin our workouts. But we would have such a blast just going back and forth. Because what we both said to each other was so unbelievably just interesting that we couldn't stop talking to each other. He's digging into me, into my brain. He's noticing these small details about me. If I'm looking just like 1% more sad than usual, he notices it and he asks me like, genuinely, what's up, right? Like, despite being double my age, he was noticing these small details about me that nobody else was really noticing. And for the first time in a very long time, I actually felt comforted by another man's presence. In fact, it was probably the first time in my life that I felt the desire to tell him what I'd been through, that I actually cried. And it just came spilling out, you know? And it's like, wow, you actually care about me. You care about my well-being, about who I am as a person. And for the first time in my life, I felt comforted by another man's presence. In that moment, I realized it wasn't so much the fact that men can't support other men or that women can only support other women, but rather it's just unbelievably difficult to find somebody who can comfort you, who does care about you in this day and age. But they do exist. They do. They behave too. It's these overly just empathetic individuals who want to just keep on learning more about you. Those are the people who are very difficult to find, but they do exist. It's these types of people that you want in your life. The truth is, we need people around us. That's the truth. We can't be secluded at home or even have the wrong people around us. And you can deny that as much as you want. You can say that you don't need people around you, whatever. And I also did try to deny that for a long time myself as well. I thought I should have been fine, But then, why was I constantly finding myself crying in private? It was like this thing that I kept bottling up until it just exploded out in some way. And for me, it was just crying in public. I mean, in private, on my way back home from the gym, apparently. I don't know about you, but I live a pretty normal life. It's not that extravagant compared to a lot of these other influences. I mean, I'm just in a regular Toyota. I work a normal job. I go to the gym. I grind. I get rejected. I have big goals of growing this YouTube channel, of providing for my family financially, for my future family, hopefully financially as well. But sometimes the grind, it really does get lonely, it really does get lonely. And sometimes you just kind of sit in your car and just wonder, I mean, what's this all worth? Who am I even doing this for? Because there is a lot of truth in the fact that you won't be able to find comfort in other people. That's just the truth. But I know this for a fact, and I promise you this. I promise you this with all my heart, bro. If you keep on improving yourself and keep being a good person at heart, man, you're gonna get heartbroken, you're gonna get rejected, you're gonna get bad shit thrown at you, you're gonna go through these lonely times. But if you keep that character of yours, if you continue to stay strong, if you stop staying home all the time, being so secluded, put yourself out there more, talk to more people, build new connections, new bonds. Even if it feels like you don't have anyone right now, even if it feels like the people that you meet can't comfort you or meet your needs or your desires or your wants, there will come a point where you will meet your people. You will. A girl, lifelong friends, people who you can eventually call family. Even if you can't really emotionally rely on the people in your life right now, there will come a point where you can. All you need is just a few good people in your life. You don't need to be friends with everyone or anything. I went from being a recluse video gamer in the room 24/7, feeling so lonely, to switching up 180, being a social butterfly, and still feeling lonely, All you need is a few good people. You don't need many people in your life. You don't. You just need people who understand you for who you are and are really empathetic and can really just dig deep inside you and just, you feel like you can say anything to these people and they will just listen and just understand you. Those are the people you want in your life. Those are the people you want to be around. Because sometimes, and the sad truth is, sometimes the friends that we have, there's just some things that we just aren't comfortable with telling them. But find the people who you are comfortable with telling things to, especially the vulnerable stuff. Because it goes a long way. Don't be in this doomer mindset that nobody will be able to comfort you or whatever, right? That's how weirdos think, let's be honest. That's how people who give up think. Don't think like a loser. There will come a point in time where you absolutely will find your people. I can guarantee that. But just know this. We're all battling this fight together, my friend. And in that regard, you're not alone. You're not. And I hope that means something to you. Because it would have meant a lot to me when I was feeling really alone, you know? And I know I'm just like a guy on the screen, so we can't really form that connection like that, but I mean, the truth is I do care, you know? Stay strong. Goodbye. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video as well. Stay strong, dude. You all got this.